Introduction: when the prince meets the algorithm. In the dimly lit Florence of the early 1500s, politics was a blood sport. Alliances were fragile, betrayals were common, and a single misstep could end a career or a life. Machiavelli, a diplomat and political thinker, understood this brutal reality better than anyone. He was not interested in fairy tales of virtue or the idealism of philosophers. He wanted to know one thing: how do you win? His answer was The Prince, a book that dared to say what others whispered in shadows. It declared that power is about perception as much as truth, that you must sometimes be a fox to spot traps and a lion to scare wolves, that morality, though admirable, could be a luxury you cannot always afford. Fast forward 500 years, and the battlefield has shifted. We don't fight for thrones with swords. We fight for attention with content. The court of public opinion is now an endless scroll on your phone. The monarchs of today are influencers, entrepreneurs, politicians, and thought leaders whose empires are measured not in acres of land, but in followers, views, and engagement rates. And just like in Renaissance Florence, the rules are rarely fair. The most talented don't always win. The most honest don't. They always rise. Often, those who master perception dominate, those who rely solely on substance. So here's a central question we'll explore today. If you applied Machiavelli's principles to Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter, could you not just survive, but rule? To answer that, we need to translate Machiavelli's playbook for kings into the playbook for creators. And along the way, we'll discover that some of the biggest names on social media are already playing this game, whether they admit it or not. Part 1. The Machiavellian mindset in a digital age. Before we talk about likes, hashtags, and trending sounds, we first have to step into the mind of a true Machiavellian operator, not the cartoon villain that pop culture sometimes imagines, but the cold, clear strategist who sees the world for what it is, not for what they wish it to be. Niccolo Machiavelli's most dangerous idea was deceptively simple. Human nature is predictable. Strip away the technology, the memes, and the shiny apps, and you'll find that the same instincts that drove people in Renaissance Italy drive them today. We may live in a world of smartphones and Wi-Fi, but at our core, we are still moved by status, emotion, and the desire to belong. Machiavelli understood that power doesn't go to the loudest voice or even the most talented person. It goes to the one who understands the psychology of the crowd and plays it like a finely tuned instrument. On social media, that translates into a few unshakable truths. People don't always want the actual truth. They want a truth that feels right to them, something that resonates with their emotions more than it challenges their beliefs. People are addicted to novelty, but they also cling to familiarity like a lifeboat. Too much of one without the other, and they lose interest. People will scroll past information, but they will stop for emotion. It doesn't matter if it's AUA, anger, envy, or amusement. Emotion is the hook, and attention is the currency. A true Machiavellian doesn't stumble into influence by accident. They would never post just to see what happens. And they certainly wouldn't rely on the naive comfort blanket of just being authentic without direction. Authenticity without strategy is vulnerability. Every post, every story, every reel would be an intentional move in a larger game, a chess match, where the board is made of perception and the pieces are human attention spans. Key principle 1. Appearances are everything. In The Prince, Machiavelli tells rulers that people judge by appearances because they cannot see the hidden reality. That was true in the 1500s, when the most advanced form of mass communication was a town crier. Today, in the age of high-definition cameras, viral content, and algorithmic feeds, that truth is magnified beyond measure. The reality is this: your audience never sees your full, unfiltered life. They see the curated slice of reality you choose to show them. And if you fail to define that image, the internet and the gossip-driven nature of human beings will happily define it for you. Think about how this works in the small details. The filter you choose on Instagram is not just an aesthetic choice. It's a statement about the mood you want to project. The caption is not just text. It's the emotional frame for how the image will be interpreted. The comments you reply to and the ones you ignore subtly signal what matters to you. Every micro decision is a message, whether you realize it or not. A Machiavellian influencer knows that a strong personal brand is not an accessory, it's armor. It's not about being vain, it's about controlling the battlefield. They understand that the gap between aspirational and arrogant, between authentic and can be razor thin. and that falling on the wrong side of that divide can turn followers into critics overnight. Example, picture an influencer who uploads a behind-the-scenes clip that looks raw and unplanned, a candid laugh, a coffee cup, a messy desk. It feels intimate, like you've been invited into their private life. But here's the twist. Every detail, from the lighting to the camera angle to the exact timing of the laugh, was designed in advance. Even the mess on the desk was staged to look effortlessly relatable. This is not deception. It's strategic storytelling. It's the deliberate shaping of reality to produce a specific perception. And that, at its core, is the Machiavellian mindset in the digital age. Never leaving your image to chance. Never surrendering control over how you are seen. And never forgetting that in a world drowning in noise, perception is the sharpest weapon you have. Part 2. The Art of Control. Algorithms as your prince's court. In Machiavelli's Renaissance world, a prince's survival depended on his ability to win the loyalty of two distinct forces, the nobles, whose influence shaped politics, and the common people, whose collective will could determine the prince's fate. A single misstep with either group could spark unrest, rebellion, or the slow erosion of power. But today, in our digital kingdoms, the prince's court has taken on an entirely new form. The nobles and commoners have been replaced by something invisible, impartial, and yet terrifyingly powerful: the algorithm. This silent monarch does not wear a crown or hold banquets in marble halls. It does not flatter, argue, or negotiate. Instead, it calculates, it observes your every move, your posting times, your engagement rates, the style and substance of your content, and based on its mysterious judgment, it either elevates you to the throne of trending feeds or casts you into the dark dungeon of obscurity. If the algorithm favors you, your message spreads like wildfire across the realm. Your name appears on screens in cities and villages alike. Followers multiply, opportunities arrive at your gates. But if it turns against you, your voice becomes a whisper, lost in the storm of a billion competing posts. So, how would Machiavelli, master of political survival, approach this unseen ruler? He would recognize the algorithm for what it truly is, not an obstacle, but a gatekeeper. He would see it as the ultimate courtier whose favor must be courted and maintained. And above all, he would understand that the algorithm's laws are not fixed. They shift, mutate, and reinvent themselves without warning. Key principle: to adapt to the rules of power or perish. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler's fortune depends on their ability to change tactics in the face of shifting circumstances. Those who cling to the old ways, he warned, inevitably fall behind. In politics, that meant switching alliances, revising laws, or even reshaping one's public image to suit the times. In our age, the battlefield is digital, and the circumstances are the ever-evolving rules of social media platforms. An algorithm update is not unlike a political coup. Overnight, what worked yesterday might become irrelevant today. Entire empires of creators have risen and fallen in the wake of these changes. Some perish because they grow complacent, relying on a formula that no longer works. Others survive because they adapt quickly, reading the winds of change before the storm arrives. The Machiavellian creator is not a casual observer of trends. They are a student of them. They dissect platform updates as if studying the policies of a powerful ruler. They note which types of content are being rewarded. They experiment with posting times as a diplomat experiments with negotiation strategies. They analyze engagement patterns the way a general studies troop movements before a decisive battle. And they do this not because they enjoy crunching numbers or geeking out over data, but because power demands it. In this game, the prize is not fame for its own sake, it's influence, reach, and the ability to shape the narrative. Example: when Instagram shifted its favor from still photography to short-form reels, many photographers clung stubbornly to their familiar craft. Their posts became ghosts in the feed, gathering fewer and fewer eyes. Meanwhile, a smaller, sharper group of creators recognized the shift for what it was, a call to adapt. They transformed their still images into dynamic, visually rich microvideos. Some layered in storytelling, others added behind-the-scenes clips or clever transitions. The result? Explosive growth, while the unadapted were quietly erased from the conversation. Machiavelli's advice to them would be simple: the world will not wait for you to catch up. If you cannot ride the current, you will drown in it. Part 3. Divide and rule. Crafting a loyal audience. Among Machiavelli's most famous political insights was his mastery of divide and rule. He understood that no ruler, no matter how loved, can survive if a single united faction grows powerful enough to challenge them. A wise prince, therefore, ensures that no one group can dominate the political stage. He fragments alliances, maintains separate relationships with competing forces, and ensures each group feels valued in its own way. On social media, this doesn't mean turning your followers against each other or sparking unnecessary drama. Instead, it means understanding that your audience is not one homogeneous mass. It's a collection of smaller tribes, each with its own desires, expectations, and reasons for paying attention to you. Key principle number A: speak directly to different tribes. A common mistake among creators is thinking they have one audience. In truth, you have many micro-audiences overlapping circles of attention that each respond to different aspects of your work. Casual viewers, they stumbled upon your content once, found it entertaining, and might follow you if you keep giving them quick, satisfying moments. Dedicated fans, they watch everything you post. They trust your voice and will follow you across platforms. Industry peers, they measure you not by your follower count, but by the quality, originality, and execution of your craft. Critics, they watch you sometimes more closely than your supporters, waiting to analyze, debate, or even undermine your message. A Machiavellian creator tailors their output to touch each of these groups in ways that resonate specifically with them. This not only strengthens your reach, but also prevents over-reliance on any single segment. If one tribe drifts away, the others hold the line. Exemple: a skilled YouTuber might post short, funny, highly shareable clips to keep casual viewers entertained and coming back. For their loyal fans, they could release long-form, deeply researched videos that reward patience and loyalty. For industry peers, they might share behind-the-scenes insights into their process, building respect among those who understand the craft. And even for critics, they might craft subtle, layered content that forces engagement, even if that engagement comes in the form of analysis, debate, or critique. In this way, each tribe feels seen. Each group believes they have a unique relationship with you, and together they form a web of loyalty so strong that no single shift in the public mood can topple you. In Machiavelli's court, this was political survival. In our digital kingdoms, it's the difference between fleeting virality and lasting influence. Part 4. The double-edged sword of virality. Machiavelli warned rulers to be wary of rapid rises to power, because sudden success can breed sudden enemies. In the age of dukes and princes, that meant the swift accumulation of territory or political favor. In our age, it means something far more unpredictable: virality. Virality is intoxicating. It's the modern equivalent of a crowd suddenly gathering beneath your balcony, chanting your name. One day, you're a small voice in a noisy room, and the next, you've got millions hanging on your every word. But just as quickly as they come, they can vanish. The very same crowd that lifted you up can turn into a mob eager to see you fall. Key principle number Y: use virality as a weapon, not a crutch. A Machiavellian creator wouldn't leap at every trend like a hungry dog chasing scraps. They'd recognize that virality is a spark, not the fire itself. They'd use that spark to light something bigger, something sustainable, something that can burn long after the initial flame dies out. When a viral moment comes, the Machiavellian mind asks, how can this moment serve my long-term kingdom? They direct the sudden flood of strangers toward their core message, their deeper body of work, the foundation that holds when the floodwaters recede. And most importantly, they'd prepare for the storm after the sunshine, because virality makes you visible, and visibility makes you vulnerable. Every flaw, every misstep, every contradictory statement from your past is suddenly illuminated under a microscope. The higher you rise, the sharper the knives aimed at you become. Consider this example. An unknown TikToker posts a funny skit, and overnight, the video explodes. 1 million likes. Hundreds of thousands of new followers. The average person might panic and think, I have to give them more of the same immediately. They'd post 50 more skits, hoping to keep the momentum alive. And when the audience grows bored, the creator is left with nothing but a dusty pile of content nobody cares about anymore. The Machiavellian creator plays it differently. Instead of flooding the feed with the same joke, they strategically introduce their more serious, more enduring content. They offer value beyond the laugh, a worldview, a philosophy, a reason for people to stick around even after the hype fades. That way, when the viral wave rolls back into the ocean, Their core audience, the loyal citizens of their digital kingdom, still remains. Part 5. The ethics question. Strategy O, or manipulation. Here's where things get uncomfortable. Machiavelli never pretended that ruling was purely noble work. He didn't just tolerate manipulation, he saw it as a necessary instrument of survival. The same is true in the digital age, though we rarely like to admit it. So the question arises, if you're being Machiavellian on social media, are you being shrewd and strategic, or are you deceiving people? The truth is, the line between the two is many of the tactics that work best online controlling your image. Staging authenticity, telling carefully crafted stories can serve both light and dark purposes. Think about it. Controlling your image can mean presenting your best self to inspire your audience, or it can mean hiding your flaws to appear perfect. Crafting your narrative can be about building a meaningful connection, or about steering people toward a belief that benefits only you. Staging authenticity can help you relate to people, or it can trick them into thinking they know the real you when they're only seeing a character. The deciding factor isn't the tactic itself, it's your intent. Are you building influence to create genuine value for your audience, to lead them towards something that enriches their lives? Or are you using them purely as fuel for your own rise, draining their attention until they have nothing left to give? In the Renaissance, a prince could rule with cruelty as long as he kept the state stable. On social media, you can rule with manipulation as long as you keep your followers entertained. But in both cases, the price of short-term gain is long-term trust. And once trust is gone, the throne starts to crack beneath you. Conclusion, the prince of the feed. So, is it possible to be Machiavelli on social media? Absolutely. In fact, many of the most successful people online already are, though they would never use the word. They know the unspoken truths. That perception beats reality. That timing is power. And that attention is the most valuable currency in the modern economy. These digital princes and princesses adapt faster than the algorithm shifts. They know how to speak differently to different segments of their audience, gentle and warm to one group, bold and unfiltered to another. They understand that a post isn't just content, it's a political act in the court of public opinion. And above all, they use moments of attention strategically. They don't mistake applause for loyalty or clicks for commitment. They know that a trending sound can make you popular, but only a strong foundation makes you lasting. But with great influence comes great responsibility. A true Machiavellian in the digital age knows that the goal isn't simply to dominate the feed, it's to rule in a way that ensures your reign endures. It's not enough to win the crowd today. You must win their respect for tomorrow. In the end, the same principle that guided princes of the Renaissance still applies to influencers of today. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Except in 2025, perhaps we'd say, it is better to be respected than liked if you cannot be both. Because likes fade, algorithms change, trends die. But in the kingdom of social media, respect is the one currency that never loses value. And those who build their digital empires upon it will find that while the crowd may cheer and boo with the seasons, their true power remains unshaken, unchallenged, and, in the end, undeniable.